What's up, guys? Mikey here for the Vanguard Council with another weekly tip video for you guys today. Now, last week's one, was pretty good. I think it was pretty good. And as I said before, it's going to be every Friday until I run out of ideas or until I run out of ideas. So, today's video will be around the topic of pacing your gameplay, pacing your game, and how you play the game. This topic is kind of broad because it will cover two key points. Not falling for your opponent's speed play, if they speed play, and giving your opponent time to think. Now, I think these two key pieces during a game are very critical to how you can win the game because you're, like I said, giving your opponent too much time to think and giving yourself less time to think. Now, let's cover the first thing, speed playing. Don't fall for it. That's the main goal here. Don't fall for the speed playing of your opponent. Now, what that means is, if you're not familiar with that term, is that speed playing is for players who really, really know their deck in and out. Like, they've played it since the beginning, and they know every aspect of the deck, every weakness, every strength, every possible outcome. Not so much like to that extent, like they have the foresight to see that. And when you have something like that, you generally have an idea of how you want to go about your turn and how you want to go about the game state and how you want to proceed with it. These things are very, very critical because that means you can force the pace of the game how you want it, and when you do that, your opponent typically falls for this speed play and tries to keep at your pace. Now, for an inexperienced player to do that, it will cause serious mistakes, and those mistakes will always cost you the game, no matter how minor or how major. I know because I've done speed playing before. I speed played one time. It's a very vivid memory, so I did speed play my opponent because it was Gold Paladin Premium. I was facing, I think it was Bermuda. It was Bermuda Premium. Now, I speed played my opponent very, very hard. Like, this was at the time that the Spear X came out, and giving your opponent 2 damage with the Gold Paladin is not a good idea. But he went for it anyway. But my speed play was extremely quick. I did not give my opponent time to think. I did not give my opponent a chance to react to what I was doing. I did not give him any signs that I was making a mistake. And even if I did, I played around it and I played through it, because when you're speed playing, if you make a mistake, you must play through it. Now, those are for veteran players. Like, veteran players know how to speed play properly and they know how to not make a mistake. As I said just before, inexperienced players who try to speed play will always make mistakes. As an experienced player who knows Gold Paladin in and out, I was able to speed play it, and for some odd reason, at the end of my turn, my opponent tried to match my pace. Now, matching my pace, he made a great amount of mistakes. And those mistakes literally sped up the game to the next turn, where I just ended the game. Now, again, those kinds of mistakes, speed playing, don't fall for it. If you fall for it, it's a very big point that forcing speed plays will make mistakes. If you're not good at it, don't do it. Keep the game at your pace. If you keep the game at the pace you want, or at the pace that you need it to be, then you can semi-control the flow of the game. And I say semi because at that point it's based on skill and based on luck. There's only so much you can do with pacing the game. Now, the downside to this is that when you pace the game, you give your opponent more time to think. Again, this is all from experience. When my opponent gives me too much time to think, I anticipate their I anticipate whatever they're trying to do. I anticipate every possibility. When you have that much time to think, even if it's a few minutes, a few seconds, your brain can register an infinite or semi-infinite amount of realistic situations that can occur. And if one of those situations are correct, then you know how to play it, and you know how to counter it, and then you know how to prepare for your next turn. All this factor of time really has a great amount of pressure, because while your opponent is there thinking of how they want to go about their turn, you're just thinking, okay, I saw his last drive check, I know the majority of his hand, I know his damage count. Well, that's obvious. I know his trigger count. I know his normal unit count. Any amount of information you can process while your opponent is thinking turns into an advantage for you. This is true in any game, in any strategic game, for any strategist. This is true. The more time your opponent takes equals more time for you to counter them. That's the basis of that. So always, there's a flip side. There's a downside. Flip side, don't stay at your opponent's pace. Play at your pace and play it correctly, unless you're an expert at speed play. Conversely, don't fall for it. Don't fall for your opponent. Don't fall for giving your opponent time to think. I would say you can't play slow, because that is an infraction in the rules. Playing slow in a big tournament causes you to get warnings, DQs, match losses, stuff like that. It creates a bad reputation. But you shouldn't play at a pace so fast that you can't keep up with yourself. Now, a pace that you should go at is something along the lines of forming what strategy you think is best for your turn. Like, if you want to play conservatively, if you want to play offensively, if you want to push for damage. The idea of pacing yourself stems from, what is the goal of your turn? What do you want to do in this turn that you're trying? What are you trying to accomplish in this turn? That's the first thing. When you figure out what you're trying to accomplish in that turn, whether it's pushing for damage, whether it's playing defensively, whether it's setting up for next turn, whether it's forcing your opponent's resources out, whatever your goal is for that turn, if you commit to it and execute it properly, there's very little chance you get punished for it, unless your opponent, again, outskills you or outlucks you. There's no other way around it. I think I covered the most of this video's topic, and if there's anything I missed out, let me know in the comments below. If there's any ideas that you want me to go over, I'll gladly go over it for you. So also let me know in the comments below. Make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Like it if you enjoyed it. The Discord chat will always be open to you guys, and I will see you guys later. Peace.